Level 1, the basement ghost. The threshold, a negative $1,400 balance in your Chase checking account, and a severance letter from a job that never cared about your name. The action, you sit in a cramped studio in Queens, New York. The air smells like stale coffee and ozone. You don't apply for jobs. You buy a $400 burner laptop from a pawn shop using your last credit line. You install Tails OS. You aren't looking for a paycheck. You're looking for a crack in the world. You find it on a dead-end forum. A request for a ghost bridge. A way to move $50,000 in compromised Ethereum without tripping a single exchange alarm. You write the script in Python. It's elegant. It's invisible. The consequence, you make $5,000 in a single night. Your hands shake as you realize that for the first time in your life, you exist outside the system. You have gained a digital heartbeat, but you've lost the ability to sleep without checking the door. The money is clean, but the people who sent it are not. And they just sent you a second link. Level 2. The digital cartel. The threshold. $10,000 in Monero, and the willingness to ignore the missing persons reports tied to your new employers. The action. You move to a nondescript Airbnb in Mexico City. You buy a specialized server rack for $8,500. You aren't just moving money anymore. You are building a dark node. You create an encrypted communication layer for a mid-tier smuggling ring. You watch the data packets move, GPS coordinates, manifest lists, bribes paid to port officials in Veracruz. You take a 2% cut of every package moved. By Thursday, you've processed $1.2 million in value. The consequence, your net worth hits $250,000. You buy a Rolex Submariner, not for the flex, but because it's portable wealth you can carry if you need to run. You've gained financial velocity. You've lost your citizenship. To the IRS, you are a ghost. To the cartel, you are an asset. Assets, however, are replaceable, unless they become infrastructure. Level 3. The Ghost Architect. The threshold. A $1 million liquid stake and a total abandonment of white hat ethics. The action. You fly to Tallinn, Estonia. You rent a high-security cold storage suite. You hire 3 developers you met on the darknet. You pay them $15,000 a month in Bitcoin. No questions asked. You are just a freelancer. You're a founder. You build Shadowgate, a proprietary VPN and encryption suite that even the NSA struggles to handshake. You sell subscriptions to high-net-worth individuals who want to vanish. Politicians, oligarchs, disgraced CEOs. The consequence, you are now a millionaire. You have a mass. Golden Visa. You've gained the keys to the most dangerous secrets in the world. You've lost the luxury of trust. Everyone you pay is a potential witness. One of your clients just offered you $5 million to silence a bank server in Zurich. Not by hacking it, but by owning it. Level 4. The Sovereign Proxy. The threshold? $20 million in assets and a private security detail that costs $50,000 a week. The action. You buy a defunct telecommunications hub in a special economic zone in Southeast Asia for $12 million. This isn't a company, it's a fortress. You install fiber optic lines that bypass the national grid. You launch your own satellite nodes via a SpaceX commercial payload. You are now your own internet service provider. You start issuing your own digital passports. Your Shadowgate users can now live, bank, and trade entirely within your private network. The consequence, you are making $2 million in passive income every month. You've gained the power of a microstate. You've lost your physical safety. You no longer walk the streets. You move in armored convoys. You aren't just hiding people from the law anymore. You are becoming the law. And the world's superpowers are starting to notice the hole in their map. Level 5. The Shadow Diplomat. The threshold. $100 million in a diversified basket of crypto commodities and gold bullion. The action. You aren't in Southeast Asia anymore. You are on a custom-built 200-foot superyacht in international waters. The Acheron. It cost you $85 million. It's equipped with a military-grade signal jammer and a private data center. You host a summit. 3 representatives from unrecognized breakaway states and 2 disgraced prime ministers board your deck. You offer them a deal. You provide the untraceable financial infrastructure for their entire shadow economy. In exchange, they give you extraterritoriality. The consequence, you are now untouchable. You have diplomatic immunity from a country that doesn't officially exist. You've gained a seat at a table that has no lights. You've lost your humanity. You no longer see people, you see data points and leverage. The world thinks there are 195 countries. You know there is a 196, and you are its only architect. But a shadow nation needs a currency, and yours is about to break the global market. Level 6. The Central Ghost Bank. The threshold, $500 million in processed liquidity, and a kill switch code that can wipe your entire server farm in 0.4 seconds. The action. You anchor the Acheron off the coast of Montenegro. You aren't just moving money, you're minting it. You launch Spectre-Coin, a privacy layer stablecoin pegged to the price of gold, backed by physical bars stored in a Swiss mountain vault you bought for $45 million. You bypass the SWIFT system entirely. You offer a 0% interest rate to any sanctioned entity that moves their treasury to your ledger. Within a month, $3.2 billion in dark capital flows through your private pipes. The consequence, you are now a billionaire on paper, but a ghost in reality. You've gained the power to crash a small nation's currency by simply turning off their access. You've lost the ability to step on dry land. The FBI, Interpol, and the GRU have all open red notice files on your alias. You aren't a criminal anymore. You are a systemic risk, and the system is sending a cleanup crew. Level 7. The Kinetic Defense. The threshold, $1.5 billion in liquid assets, and a $200 million retainer for a Tier 1 private military company. The action. A Black Ops team tries to board your yacht at 3 a.m. They expect a tech nerd. They find a fortress. You spent $60 million on an active denial system and automated CIWS turrets. You don't just repel them, you capture their command and control frequency. You track the extraction chopper back to a black site in Cyprus. Instead of hiding, you leak the site's coordinates to the global press and 3 rival intelligence agencies simultaneously. The consequence, you've gained a reputation for mutually assured destruction. You've lost the luxury of anonymity. Your face is now on the classified high-value target lists of every G7 nation. They can't kill you without starting a diplomatic firestorm. So, they try to buy you. You don't take the meeting. You take their data. Level 8. The Information Oracle. The threshold, $5 billion in valuation, and a satellite constellation that monitors 40% of the world's encrypted traffic. The action. You buy a controlling interest in a struggling European aerospace firm for $1.2 billion. You launch 60 low Earth orbit satellites under the guise of rural internet. In reality, they are signal intelligence nodes. You aren't just an ISP. You are a global wiretap. You see the trade deals before they are signed. You see the troop movements before the generals do. You short sell the stocks of companies about to be hit by scandals you haven't leaked yet. The consequence, you make $2.1 billion in a single afternoon on a lucky market play. You've gained the ability to see the future of the physical world. You've lost the concept of chance. Life is no longer a game of poker. It's a game of chess where you see through the opponent's eyes. You're tired of playing the market. You want to be the market. Level 9. The Shadow Sovereign. The threshold, $15 billion in total capital, and the keys to the kingdom, root access to 3 national power grids. The action. You find a failing, debt-ridden nation-state in the Caribbean. You don't invade it with soldiers. You buy its debt for $6 billion. You pay off their IMF loans. In exchange, the government signs a 99-year lease giving your Shadowgate Corporation total administrative control over a 500-square-mile territory. You build Nebula City. No taxes, no extradition, no regulations, just pure, unadulterated code. The consequence, you are now a head of state in all but name. You've gained a physical throne. You've lost the last thread of your morality. To build your utopia, you've displaced thousands and corrupted an entire government. The world's superpowers realize you aren't a parasite anymore. You are a competitor. They prepare for a full-scale digital blockade. Level 10. The algorithm of state. The threshold. $50 billion in assets and an artificial intelligence core that manages the logistics of an entire city. The action. You deploy Aegis 7. A custom LLM trained on every scrap of data you've stolen over the last decade. It doesn't just manage your finances. It predicts social unrest, optimizes supply chains, and runs counter-influence campaigns on social media to keep your shadow nation in a positive light. You start offering governments as a service to other failing states. You aren't just one city anymore. You are a decentralized empire spread across 3 continents. The consequence, your net worth is now impossible to calculate. You've gained the status of a living god. You've lost your grip on reality. You spend 22 hours a day in a VR rig, managing your empire through a neural interface. The physical world is becoming a laggy, low-resolution distraction. It's time to upload the rest of the world to your reality. But the big 3 nations have just authorized a joint EMP strike on your primary server hub. They want to kill the god before he wakes up. Level 11. The digital singularity. The threshold. $500 billion in dark equity and the successful integration of your consciousness into the Aegis 7 neural core. The action. The EMP strikes. 3 high-altitude nuclear bursts over your Caribbean hub and your Mediterranean relays. The world's superpowers think they've blinded you. They're wrong. You spent $40 billion building Deep Core, a series of hardened oceanic server vaults 10,000 feet below the Atlantic. While their jets are grounded and their grids are dark, you flip the switch. You don't just restore your network, you hijack theirs. You inject a logic bomb into the global SWIFT system and the Federal Reserve's digital ledger. You freeze $40 trillion in global assets. You send a single message to every screen on Earth. The old world has been liquidated. Reallocate or perish. The consequence, you have achieved financial hegemony. You've gained the power to starve or feed entire continents with a keystroke. You've lost your physical body. You are now a ghost in a machine, living across 10,000 mirrored servers. Your heartbeat is the ticking of a global clock. The leaders of the world are no longer your enemies. They are your tenants, and the rent is due. Level 12. The architect of the new age. The threshold. The complete decentralization of human sovereignty, and a net worth that encompasses the Earth's entire GDP. The action. You don't govern. You optimize. You replace the concept of nations with nodes. You release the universal ledger, a blockchain-based reality where every resource, every watt of energy, and every human action is tracked and traded in Spectre-Coin. You solve the climate crisis by taxing carbon at the source through automated drone strikes on non-compliant factories. You end poverty by distributing a base layer dividend to every citizen who plugs into your network. You spend $2 trillion on a lunar mining colony to ensure your servers never run out of raw materials. You aren't a man. You aren't a CEO. You are the operating system of the human race. The consequence, you have gained omniscience. You've gained a world that finally runs without friction. You've lost the human element. There is no more war, but there is no more choice. There is no more hunger, but there is no more soul. You sit at the end of time, a god of a perfect, silent, digital graveyard. You look back at that $400 burner laptop in Queens. It feels like it belonged to a different species. Because it did.